Part 1. The Call of the Ocean Harry was a lean, 13-year-old fisher boy with deep brown eyes that shone with determination and wonder. Living in a small coastal town on the rugged shores of California, he had grown up learning that the ocean was both a benevolent provider and a mysterious force that demanded respect. Every dawn, before the sun painted the sky with hues of gold and lavender, Harry would set out in his father's old fishing boat, a vessel weathered by time yet filled with memories of a bygone era, to earn his daily keep and absorb the whispers of the sea. That particular summer morning was unlike any other. As Harry maneuvered his boat away from the safe harbor, the early rays of the sun pierced through the gentle coastal fog. The shimmering surface of the bay transformed into a living mosaic of dancing light, each ripple reflecting hope and promise. The water, cool and crisp at about 55 degrees F, invigorated him as he rowed further from the shore into the vast blue expanse of the Pacific. Harry's life had been simple, yet the ocean always held surprises. His keen eyes caught the everyday wonders. Schools of silvery fish darting beneath his boat, seabirds soaring gracefully overhead, and the occasional splash of playful dolphins. But on this day, something was different. A subtle, rhythmic disturbance beneath the water that set his heart racing. It was as if the ocean itself was trying to communicate a secret. Driven by curiosity and compassion, Harry decided to dive in with his snorkeling gear and a small waterproof camera he had saved for a special moment. Slipping beneath the surface, he was immediately enveloped by an underwater world, both vibrant and mysterious. He swam among lush clusters of eelgrass and rocky outcrops, marveling at the interplay of light and shadow across the seabed. Then, in the distance, he noticed a faint silhouette drifting slowly. At first, Harry assumed it was just another sea creature, a seal or a pod of dolphins perhaps. But as he swam closer, his eyes widened in disbelief. There, gliding with an unusual hesitance, was a young humpback whale calf, about 15 feet long. Unlike the graceful, unhurried movements typical of its kind, the calf moved in abrupt, jerky bursts. Its tail flicked uncertainly, and its eyes, large and soulful, darted around as if filled with worry. Harry's pulse quickened. Never before had he witnessed a whale in distress. In one moment, the calf drew so near that its enormous flipper brushed gently against him, as if acknowledging his presence and silently pleading for help. Then, as suddenly as it had approached, the calf veered off and paused intermittently, every few hundred feet, to glance back at Harry. It was almost as if the creature was urging him to follow. Despite his tender age and inexperience in such dire circumstances, Harry's compassion overcame any trepidation. He swam deeper, following the erratic yet determined movements of the whale calf. With every stroke, he became more attuned to the ocean's rhythms. The water grew darker as he ventured further from the sunlit shallows, transforming the underwater landscape into a mysterious realm where the usual boundaries of light and shadow blurred. After what felt like an eternity of careful pursuit, covering nearly a quarter mile, Harry discovered a hidden underwater valley, a secluded basin carved by nature between towering rock formations. Here, in the shallow depths, the water revealed a scene that would forever alter the boy's life. An enormous humpback whale, easily 50 feet in length, lay almost motionless. Its once pristine skin was marred by a thick, ashen covering that resembled a grotesque layer of barnacles and grime. As Harry drew nearer, the reality became all too clear. The whale's massive body was encrusted with barnacles, not in the natural scattered clusters typical of a healthy whale, but in a near-continuous, suffocating layer. Only small patches around its eyes and blowhole remained free. Every slow, labored breath and every low, mournful groan from the whale deepened Harry's sorrow and resolve. He realized that the gentle giant was not only suffering from a debilitating infestation, but was also a silent victim of a greater tragedy, one that had compromised the very heart of the ocean. Harry's mind raced with the stories his grandfather once told him about the impact of pollution and discarded fishing nets. Could it be that this magnificent creature had been betrayed by human carelessness? Determined to help despite his youth and limited resources, Harry retrieved a small, sharp utility knife from his waterproof bag, a cherished heirloom from his father, and with trembling yet resolute hands began the painstaking task of removing the clusters of barnacles from the whale's skin. Every scrape was performed with care. Harry understood that a wrong move might injure the whale further. The barnacles clung stubbornly to the scarred flesh, a grim reminder of the perils lurking in polluted waters. All the while, the whale calf swam close by, its large eyes reflecting both fear and an unspoken hope that this small human might be its salvation. As Harry labored under the dim underwater light, the gravity of his mission resonated deep within him, a call to act not only for the life before him, but for the health of the entire ocean. Part 2. The arrival of help after what seemed like hours in the silent underwater valley, Harry reluctantly realized that his small hands, despite their brave efforts, could only do so much to help the ailing whale. The infestation was extensive, and the marks of a toxic presence were evident. A tangled mass of barnacles mixed with debris, including fragments of industrial fishing net. The grim sight confirmed Harry's worst fears. The whale was suffering not just from a parasitic outbreak, but also from the devastating effects of pollution. Summoning every ounce of courage, Harry carefully disengaged from the whale's side. With a heavy heart, he swam back to his fishing boat, fighting against an increasingly strong current in his own swirling emotions. The journey back felt endless, as though the ocean were testing his resolve. Finally, when he clambered aboard the modest vessel, he paused only long enough to catch his breath before reaching for the small CB radio, the only means he had to call for help. In a voice that belied his tender age, Harry reported the emergency to the local Marine Rescue Service. "This is Harry," he said, his voice steady despite the pounding of his heart. "I'm about half a mile off Crescent Bay. I found a humpback whale in critical condition. Its body is nearly immobilized by a thick layer of barnacles and debris. There's also a young calf nearby. Please, send help immediately." The radio crackled with a calm, reassuring response from an experienced rescuer. "Copy that, Harry. Stay calm and keep your position. A rescue vessel is en route and should reach your location within the hour. Continue to monitor the whales and provide updates if you notice any changes." Relief washed over Harry. Though the weight of responsibility still pressed on him, he resumed his position near the distressed pair, his small camera capturing every moment, every ripple of the unfolding drama. The whale calf, still anxious yet hopeful, swam in tight formation with its suffering mother, as if offering comfort with its mere presence. Each passing minute stretched out, filled with anticipation and an unspoken plea for salvation. Approximately 50 minutes later, as the sun climbed higher in the clear blue sky, a sturdy rescue boat cut through the choppy waves. The vessel, equipped for marine emergencies, carried a team of 6 seasoned professionals: 2 marine mammal veterinarians, 3 experienced rescue specialists, and a dedicated cetacean biologist who had spent decades studying these gentle giants. Harry watched in awe as the boat drew closer, its powerful engines churning the water into frothy white caps. The rescue team wasted no time. As the boat reached Harry's position, 2 divers clad in state-of-the-art underwater gear were swiftly deployed into the water. Their specialized instruments, long-handled hydraulic scrapers, delicate suction devices, and precision cutters, were far superior to the simple knife Harry had used. They were trained to remove barnacles and toxic debris carefully, minimizing any further stress to the vulnerable whale. Harry's eyes sparkled with both relief and wonder as he observed the coordinated efforts of the divers. The whale, once a symbol of sorrow and suffering, now appeared to sense the arrival of human compassion. Its calf remained close by, its gaze following every movement as if it understood that help had finally come. The divers split up, each assigned to a specific section of the whale's body. Under the gentle guidance of their captain, they began the intricate process of cleaning the creature's skin. Amid the busy underwater scene, the marine veterinarians took the opportunity to examine the whale more closely. Using portable ultrasound devices, they carefully scanned the animal's body. Their expressions grew increasingly grave as they detected a small lump on the whale's flank, a potential sign of a foreign object lodged within its stomach. A quick, yet intense discussion ensued among the rescuers, and it became clear that the whale was suffering from more than just an infestation. The net fragments, which had been coated with industrial antifouling chemicals, were leaching toxins into the whale's system. One of the veterinarians, Dr. Martin, explained in a hushed tone to his colleagues. The net fragment we removed appears to be saturating the whale's tissues with dangerous chemicals. We must act quickly. Without surgical intervention, the toxins will continue to damage its vital organs. Harry listened intently from a safe distance, feeling the full weight of the situation. He recalled the stories of environmental decline his grandfather had often narrated, and now those fears were materializing before his eyes. The rescue team, understanding the urgency, decided that the whale had to be transported immediately to the nearest marine rehabilitation center for a thorough examination and possible surgery. Using an inflatable pontoon and a powerful tugboat, the rescuers began the delicate operation of moving the whale toward the busy harbor. The whale's calf, unwavering in its loyalty, clung closely to its mother throughout the ordeal. The journey from the hidden underwater valley to the harbor stretched out over roughly 1,000 feet of challenging water. Every slow, deliberate maneuver by the rescue team was a testament to their expertise and compassion. As the whale was carefully guided onto a specially designed platform, Harry could barely hold back the tears. The sight of this majestic creature, scarred by pollution yet dignified in its suffering, ignited a deep resolve within him. The rescue team's efforts were not just about saving a single whale. They were a stand against the callous disregard for the ocean and its inhabitants. Part 3. A race against time at the Marine Rehabilitation Center. The atmosphere was thick with tension and determination. Harry, now allowed to observe from a safe distance, felt both awe and responsibility as experts gathered around the injured whale. The center, a hub of activity filled with bright screens, scientific instruments, and anxious faces, was where the fate of the whale would be decided. Inside a softly lit examination room, Dr. Martin and his team worked quickly to stabilize the whale. They connected the creature to a series of monitors that displayed its vital signs: the slow, labored breathing, the irregular heartbeat, and the insidious progression of toxin levels in its bloodstream. The center's advanced diagnostic equipment provided a clear picture of the damage wrought by the net fragment. Dr. Martin explained to the gathered team, the industrial chemicals in this net are unlike anything we've seen before. They're corrosive, and they're systematically overwhelming the whale's organs. Without prompt, precise surgical removal of the foreign object, the damage will become irreversible. Harry stood quietly at the back, absorbing every word. The young fisher boy's heart ached for the magnificent creature before him, whose suffering seemed to mirror the plight of the entire ocean. A victim of human negligence and greed, his mind raced with questions about how such a tragedy could have been allowed to unfold, and a fierce determination began to take root within him. He silently vowed that he would do everything in his power to ensure the ocean would be treated with the respect it deserved. Over the next few days, the rehabilitation center became a battleground against time. The whale underwent a series of treatments aimed at reducing the toxin levels in its blood. Regular blood tests, administered by a dedicated team of toxicologists and marine biologists, revealed small improvements, but the situation remained precarious. The surgical team scheduled an operation to extract the net fragment, knowing that every moment was critical. While the medical staff worked tirelessly, Harry found himself becoming more involved than ever before. Though he was just a boy, his intimate knowledge of the ocean and its ways, passed down from generations of fishermen, made him an invaluable presence. Under strict supervision, he assisted in minor tasks, handing over instruments, documenting the process with his small camera, and even helping to monitor the whale's recovery. His empathy and genuine care resonated with the staff, and soon his presence became a beacon of hope amid the clinical chaos. As the day of the surgery approached, the center's corridors were filled with nervous energy. Dr. Martin and his colleagues meticulously planned the procedure. The plan was to use a specially designed surgical tool that would delicately remove the net fragment without causing further harm. The whale, weakened by both the infestation and the toxic assault on its organs, was sedated carefully. Every step was fraught with risk, as any undue stress might trigger a fatal reaction. During the operation, Harry was allowed to observe the procedure from behind a protective glass partition. Through the window, he could see the skilled hands of the surgeons working with precision and care. The room was filled with the steady hum of machines and the quiet murmurs of the experts. The net fragment, a tangled mass of synthetic fibers encrusted with toxic deposits, was slowly and painstakingly disentangled from the whale's tissue. Every inch of the removal was guided by both science and a deep-seated compassion for the creature's suffering. Time seemed to stretch on as the surgeons worked, their faces etched with concentration and concern. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, the last piece of the net was removed. A collective sigh of relief filled the room as Dr. Martin announced, "The net fragment is out. Now we must support the whale's recovery and hope that its body can begin to heal." The operation had been a success, but the road to full recovery was only just beginning. The whale was moved to a special rehabilitation pool where its vital signs could be continuously monitored and treatments administered without the pressures of a hospital setting. Harry visited every day, his young face etched with determination and hope. He observed the slow but steady improvements. The whale's breathing grew less labored, its eyes regained a spark of life, and the calf remained a constant, loyal companion. Even as the technicians monitored the reduction in toxin levels, the impact of the ordeal was clear. The whale's body bore scars, not just physical, but as a somber testament to the environmental tragedy that had befallen it. Harry's heart ached at the realization that the plight of this gentle giant was only a microcosm of the broader battle the ocean fought every day. A battle against pollution, neglect, and the careless exploitation of nature. In the quiet moments that followed each treatment, as the whale rested in the shallow pool with its calf at its side, Harry's resolve deepened. He knew that this was not just about saving one creature, but about igniting a change. A spark that could spread and help restore the delicate balance of life in the ocean. Every whisper of the water, every gentle touch of the whale's fluke, became a silent vow that the ocean's call for help would never go unheard. Part 4. The new beginning weeks turned into months, and slowly, the rehabilitation center began to witness the fruits of their labor. The injured whale, once a figure of despair and suffering, started to show signs of renewal. The daily treatments, careful monitoring, and dedicated care of the rescue team all contributed to a gradual recovery. Yet, it was not just medical science that played a role. It was the indomitable spirit of life itself, embodied by the calf's unwavering presence and Harry's persistent determination. On a crisp morning when the air was filled with the promise of change, the team at the center declared that the whale's condition had improved enough to consider a return to the open sea. Preparations for the release began with meticulous attention to detail. Harry was asked to participate, not merely as a witness, but as an active helper, a symbol of hope and a reminder of the community's commitment to the ocean. That morning, the harbor was abuzz with a mix of emotions. Local fishermen, environmental activists, and curious onlookers gathered along the docks to witness the momentous event. Harry stood on the deck of the rescue vessel, his heart pounding with excitement and a touch of trepidation. The whale, now more vibrant, though still bearing the marks of its ordeal, lay on a specially designed platform that would facilitate its reintroduction to its natural habitat. The calf, ever vigilant, swam in a small enclosure nearby, its eyes fixed on its recovering mother. As the gentle clamor of the crowd rose, the rescue team carefully unlocked the gates of the rehabilitation pool. For several long moments, the whale hesitated at the threshold between captivity and freedom. The water outside beckoned, a vast, endless expanse of blue filled with promise. Then, with a slow, deliberate movement, the whale was guided into the open water. Its massive body, once constrained by pollution and suffering, now moved with a tentative grace, testing the waters of freedom. Harry's heart swelled with emotion as he watched the reunion of the two whales. The calf swam close to its mother, and together they began their journey back into the wild. The release was a quiet, dignified affair, punctuated by moments of collective awe as the two creatures moved as one into the embrace of the ocean. Then, in a breathtaking display of renewed strength and vitality, the mother whale arched upward in a powerful leap. A graceful, defiant gesture against the darkness of their past. The calf soon followed, its playful leap symbolizing hope for a future unburdened by the scars of pollution. That day marked not only a new beginning for the rescued whales, but also a turning point for Harry. The boy who had once set out in a humble fishing boat was now a passionate advocate for the ocean. Inspired by his experiences, he began to speak at local gatherings and school events, recounting the story of the injured whale and its calf. His words resonated deeply with the community, stirring a collective determination to protect the fragile marine environment. Harry's once simple life was now interwoven with a greater mission, a promise to honor the ocean's gifts and to fight against the forces that threatened its well-being. In the days that followed the release, Harry spent as much time as he could near the water's edge, where he would watch the whales fade into the horizon. Each ripple, each gentle wave seemed to whisper a message of renewal and rebirth. Harry documented these moments with his camera, knowing that his images might one day inspire others to cherish and protect the ocean. The local press picked up the story, and soon the rescue of the whale and its calf became a symbol of hope and resilience for the entire coastal community. As the summer waned into early autumn, tangible changes began to take root in the community. Local fishermen, once skeptical of conservation efforts, joined forces with environmentalists to clean up the shoreline and promote sustainable fishing practices. Policies were drafted to reduce industrial discharge, and the spirit of stewardship that Harry had helped ignite spread like wildfire. Every cleaned beach and every restored reef was a tribute to the small boy who had listened to the call of the ocean and dared to make a difference. Part 5. Legacy of the Sea. Years passed, and the story of the rescued whale and its brave calf continued to inspire not only the coastal community, but also marine conservationists far beyond the shores of California. Harry, once a 13-year-old fisher boy, matured into a determined advocate for ocean preservation. His early experiences, etched in the hearts of those who witnessed the rescue, had blossomed into a lifelong commitment. A legacy built on compassion, courage, and the belief that even the smallest voice can echo across the vast ocean. Now a young man, Harry often returned to Crescent Bay, where the memory of that fateful summer remained as vivid as the sunlit ripples on the water. He joined forces with scientists, local fishermen, and environmental activists to spearhead projects aimed at restoring damaged marine habitats. His efforts, ranging from beach cleanups to educational campaigns, served as a living reminder of the delicate balance between human progress and the natural world. On one clear afternoon, aboard a modern research vessel that sailed along the same familiar coastline, Harry took a moment to reflect on his journey. As the boat cut through the waves and the distant cries of seabirds filled the air, he recalled the injured whale that had sparked his transformation. He remembered the sight of its calf, swimming faithfully beside its recovering mother, and the profound message that nature, when given a chance, could heal even its deepest wounds. During that voyage, Harry deployed an underwater drone to capture footage of the migrating humpback whales. The live images that appeared on his portable monitor were breathtaking. A celebration of life in its purest form. Among the playful swirls of water and the graceful arcs of leaping whales, one familiar shape emerged. The once injured whale, now fully revitalized, leading a pod of humpbacks on their ancient migratory path. The sight filled Harry with a profound sense of hope and vindication. It was a testament to the resilience of nature and to the idea that every act of compassion, however small, could ripple out into a legacy of change. The news of the whale's recovery and the ensuing community efforts spread widely. Scientific journals, environmental magazines, and local newspapers carried the story as a beacon of hope, a symbol of what could be achieved when people listened to nature's silent cry for help. Harry was invited to speak at conferences and community events, sharing his journey and inspiring countless others to join the fight for ocean conservation. His voice, once quiet and uncertain, had grown into a powerful call for change, resonating with anyone who believed in the sanctity of the natural world. As Harry continued his work, he never forgot the lessons of that first rescue. Every day, he walked along the shoreline, collecting discarded nets and plastic waste, determined to reduce the toll of human neglect on the sea. His camera captured images of vibrant marine life, returning to cleaned-up reefs, of community members working together to restore the beaches, and of young children listening intently as he recounted the tale of the rescued whale and its devoted calf. Each image was a promise that the ocean's future was in the hands of those willing to act with love and responsibility. In quiet moments, as the sun dipped below the horizon and painted the sky in brilliant strokes of orange and purple, Harry would stand on the beach and reflect on the legacy of the sea. He knew that the ocean was a living tapestry of life, woven together by threads of struggle, survival, and hope. The rescued whale's journey, from the depths of despair to the heights of renewal, had become a part of that tapestry, a story to be told for generations to come. As the years turned into decades, Harry's impact on marine conservation grew ever stronger. He established a local foundation dedicated to preserving the ocean and educating future generations about the delicate balance between human activity and nature. His efforts brought together communities, scientists, and policymakers, all united by the belief that every life in the sea mattered. The foundation's logo, a stylized wave embracing a whale's tail, became a symbol of unity and hope across the coast. On a warm, sunlit day nearly a decade after that first rescue, Harry returned to Crescent Bay with a group of young volunteers. Together, they stood on the same weathered dock where he had once called for help on a crackling CB radio. As they launched their small boats into the familiar blue, Harry recounted the story of the rescued whale, a tale of struggle, healing, and the enduring power of compassion. The children listened with wide eyes and earnest hearts, absorbing every word as if it were a secret to be cherished and shared. In that moment, Harry knew that the legacy of the sea was not just about the scars of pollution or the challenges of nature, but about the infinite capacity for renewal and hope. The ocean's call, so clear and persistent in his youth, had led him on a journey that transcended personal boundaries and ignited a movement. And as he watched the young volunteers row out toward the open horizon, Harry felt a deep, abiding gratitude for every ripple of change that had begun with one act of kindness. The sea, with its endless blue depths and ever-changing moods, remained a constant in Harry's life, a source of both solace and inspiration. And every time he heard the distant song of a whale or felt the gentle caress of the coastal breeze, he remembered that all life was interconnected. In that timeless embrace, the legacy of the rescued whale, its devoted calf, and the brave 13-year-old boy who had listened to the call of the ocean lived on, inspiring countless hearts to care for the world beneath the waves.